Hello everyone, and welcome to today's presentation on leadership. I am Johnny Nix, and joining me today is Taryn Crowell-Mackey. Now, before we can talk about the different types and styles of leadership, we must first understand what leadership is. Our book defines leadership as human communication which modifies the attitudes and behaviors of others in order to meet shared group goals and needs, whereas Merriam-Webster defines leadership as the power or ability to lead other people. If you have noticed, these two definitions are quite different, bringing up an interesting point. Leadership is defined differently from one person to the next, and is also rare to find two different leaders who possess the exact same leadership qualities. One thing that all leaders do have in common, however, is the power of influence. Although different leaders may draw their influence from different sources, it is necessary in order to get others to support and implement the decisions that are perceived to be necessary to accomplish the group's goals. In today's podcast, we are going to talk about 5 of these sources where this influence is drawn from. The first type of influence we will speak of is the legitimate or elected power. This is when a group chooses someone to lead them, and with their position comes certain group expectations. A great example of the elected power is here in America, we the people democratically elect a new president every 4 years to lead the country. Second are the powers of reward and punishment. These types of influence come from the leader's ability to be able to give or take away things from the other members of the group. A great example of reward would be a company who chooses to give company bonuses to its employees around the holidays. A great example of punishment is the possibility of cutting back hours for employees who can't quite meet company standards. Next is the expert power. This is where a leader's influence is derived from one's own experience or knowledge. This is usually confused with seniority. Just because someone has been there longer doesn't necessarily mean they had the most knowledge or experience within that subject. Finally, you have the reverent power. Reverent power can be gained when other group members trust the leader on how they handle situations and respect the choices they make. The 2 main types of leaders that the book focuses on are designated leaders and emergent leaders. Designated leaders are given a title that identifies them as the group leader. In our current situation as PHS students, however, chances are the actions of someone in each group from the start of the project until now has helped to influence them into their current position as the group leader. This is an example of an emergent leader. Now, there are several behaviors that can help a person to be recognized as a leader, as well as a few that can prevent someone from obtaining those positions. Coming into a group with an open mind, while using effective listening techniques, and being self-aware of your own actions are some great examples of positive influences that can help someone emerge as a leader. On the other hand, being overly bossy, uncooperative, and even being a low talker can be just a few detractors that will prevent someone from taking the lead in a group environment. Those who are afraid to speak up and chime in when they have ideas have less of a chance of taking a leadership position within the group.
Hey guys, give me one second. In history. So, we know what a leader is, and of course there are plenty in history. So let's take a look at some of them. Although some of these figures may have ruled long ago, there is still much we can learn from their leadership styles. Things that we want to copy, and things that we would rather never see again. First on our list is Alexander the Great. Alexander's position as a great leader has been debated for years, with many claiming that he was more of a great conqueror rather than a great leader. I personally think he was a little bit of both. But, regardless of anyone's position on this subject, Alexander did possess at least one good leadership quality. Instead of letting his soldiers lead the way, Alexander always rode and walked in front of his army. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, in Alexander the Great's time, it was usually that the leaders would stay out of the fray and send them in like one does on a chessboard. Basically, the soldiers were pawns. He also ate the same food and drink as his men, and even ate the same size portions as everyone else. This is a leadership quality known as leading by example. Hey guys, give me one second. Next on our list is one of the most feared men in history, Genghis Khan. Like Alexander the Great, he too led his armies from the front. However, unlike Alexander, he knew when not to fight. Khan was merciful, and by not slaughtering every man that stood against him, he actually gained the loyalty of many and even recruited former enemies into his ranks. His leadership qualities extended beyond that, as he was known for rewarding people's loyalty, and he had an open mind as he was accepting of their life choices, never forcing his people to follow any specific religions or ideals. In order to apply this, it is important to understand that these two leaders had amazing qualities that allowed people freedom to follow them, if that makes any sense. Just because you are a leader does not mean that people have given up their freedoms to follow you, and that is a huge key point in being a good leader. But moving on, we have to remember that it's not always a man that leads an army into battle. Many women have also cemented their place in history as great leaders. Joan of Arc, also known as Saint Joan, was only 17 when she started fighting in the 100 Years' War. Joan was responsible for leading the French army to several victories throughout the war. Like many before her, she too fought alongside her men in the trenches. Joan showed leadership qualities through her character, integrity, and her powerful vision. Though she possessed many great leadership qualities, none surpassed her ability to inspire people. We conclude our list with one of the most powerful women of the 20th century, and by no means is she anyone on the warpath. Mother Teresa. Held as one of the most respected women of her time, she had a strong sense of purpose and her vision was clear. She motivated people to achieve her goals and influence others to put others above themselves. She was both charismatic and confident. As of 2012, her order, the Missionaries of Charity, consisted of over 4,500 sisters and was active in more than 133 countries. So, now that we've spoken about the historical people in regards to leadership, how do you feel about that? What questions would you ask them about leadership if you could? How do you think that they would answer? I highly recommend that you go and look these people up in regards to their leadership. They had amazing charismatic quality and also had an idea of what to do. But also remember, they had a goal. If you don't have a goal, you have nowhere to lead. And no one really likes following a leader that doesn't know where they're going.